Is it normal for the legislature to have a review function on these case-by-case basis? I mean, down to that granular level?
It is the case-by-case basis is where people are helped or hurt. That's where grandparents lose their kids or not. That's where kids are taken out of a home that shouldn't be. That's where kids are left in a home with unbelievable abuse. And we believe those are few. And most DCFS employees, most of the information I have comes from those wonderful employees that do fantastic jobs. But when you're that family, either, like I said, have kids removed that shouldn't be, or you're a relative watching kids be abused and you're doing everything you can and can't get the system to do anything about it. And we realize it's difficult decisions. Once in a while, the legislature ought to be able to go in. I don't think there's anything about the Arkansas State Legislature that indicates that we have ever tried to micromanage any part of state government. While those concerns are constantly brought up, I don't think they're valid.
Do you think more subpoenas to be issued regarding officials?
I'm sorry?
More subpoenas?
None that we expect. I mean, subpoena is something that we are not excited about doing. Something we only do when we really, truly don't see another solution. And after we have worked for months, add another solution. But no, there is no plans right now to subpoena anything or anyone, I don't think.
Does some of this frustration tie into the child maltreatment database, and do you think that people were put on that too liberally?
I think the statistics say that they are. Simply that the ALJs who work for DHS, okay, which I think is a conflict, but they do an astounding job, because if anything they would be prejudiced toward DHS, and that a half, right at 50%, I think it's a little over, a little under, but right at 50% of those cases that are appealed are overturned. So yes, I think if you look at the statistics fairly, you have to say, yeah, there's a problem there.
So, and you would like this more oversight would address that problem?
Those would be some of the very cases we may want to look at. Is if somebody comes to you and you've had a case that's gone all the way through the process, and then the ALJ has said, no, there's no basis for a true finding, and people come to you and say, we spent $50,000 overturning something that never should have happened, and it's obvious that it shouldn't have happened. I think there's a reason for a legislative committee to look into that and see if maybe, because sometimes we forget, and I would not be any different. We forget that as the state that we have all these resources. And so when we make a decision, it's a very serious decision, because just when you cause other people to have to spend resources to defend themselves, a lot of, how many don't get appealed? That's one of the questions that comes up very often. How many don't get appealed just because people, how many times I've been told that? How many times have other legislators been told that? We didn't appeal just because we were not financially able to do it.
You were warned several times that you were getting close to breaking the law.